So in March this year, Cristiano Ronaldo, he attended a little ceremony in his hometown of Madeira. And they were going to rename an airport after him in his honor. And this was kind of a big deal, a big event. The Prime Minister of Portugal was there, the President of Portugal was there, and a lot of other fans as well. And obviously the And yeah, hundreds of his fans were there as well. But what made this event a little bit interesting, or made it a bit of a hit, was the fact that things didn't go quite as they expected it to go. I'm going to show you a statue of the man that will be remembered for future generations for having exceptional skill and also, some would say, above average looks. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Cristiano Ronaldo. As you can imagine, after this, the memes just kept coming. And I've selected two of my favorite ones just for your enjoyment, but mostly for mine. Here we go. So as this was like trending on my Facebook feed, I was asking the question, what's the deal here with Ronaldo? What's going on here? What's happening? And we find the same thing in this story that we're going to read out tonight. Like people from all sorts were asking, what is happening? What's going on? And we're going to read the first passage here, and I'm not sure, yes, Caitlin's going to come up for us and she's going to read this for us. Okay, good. Just go on to the next slide. Yep.
Okay, so Luke 23, verse 35 to 49. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved the others. Let him save himself if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine and vinegar and said, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was a written notice above him which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us."
So what is actually going on here? What is happening? Jesus has just been sentenced to death by the Roman authorities, and they bring Jesus over to this place to be crucified. And crucifixion was the way that they dealt out a death sentence. But they don't just bring Jesus alone, they bring two other people with him. And one criminal gets put on his right-hand side, and one criminal gets put on his left-hand side. But as we read from this text, we see there are three different people. There are rulers, there are soldiers, and then there's even a criminal mocking Jesus. And what's the one thing that they all have in common? The one thing that they say together? They say, "If you're the Messiah, how about you come down and save yourself then?" So now the question I have for you, why doesn't he? If he is the Messiah, why doesn't he come down and save himself? In sports today, players face something that some people would say or argue isn't in the spirit of the game, and it's called sledging. Sledging is basically when you use insults or belittle your opponent to try and get them angry so that they would react to that anger, make a mistake, and that would give your team an advantage. So as a coach, the job that I have is to teach my players that doesn't matter what they say, you stick to the game plan. You finish the mission. And Jesus had a mission too. His mission was to complete the rescue plan, no matter what they say. Even earlier, before Jesus faced the trial, he said that the very reason for him to be there was to be captured, to be crucified, and then to rescue us, actually. And that was what we talked about on Sunday night in that little town called Bethlehem. And he would bring joy to the people. I want you to imagine you've invited someone into your house. You can put that slide on. and it's a nice house. And after a while, the person stays with you and they start eating your food without asking. And then they start wearing your clothes without asking. But then they like your clothes so much that they decide it's now their clothes and they write their names in it. Then they go into your room, they kick you out of your room and say, oh, you can have the couch, I'll have the bed. And finally, they tell you, actually, you know what, you're not really welcome in my house anymore. Doesn't that just seem unfair? It feels absolutely wrong, doesn't it? But isn't that exactly what we do when we don't acknowledge God and we believe that everything that is His actually belongs to us? We sometimes believe that lie that Satan puts in our head where he says to us, you don't really have to acknowledge God, just, it's all about you, man. Just have fun, make the choices that you want to make. No one should stop you. And anyway, who takes seriously this God stuff? You know, he tells us actually that there's this one thing that you really, really wanted, and that's going to give you everything that you've ever wanted. It's going to give you that joy, that excitement. Life will be wonderful and so much better once you get this one thing that you really wanted. And I want to ask you this. What is the one thing in your life, if you lost it today, that would not make you want to get out of bed in the morning? Whatever this thing is for you, if you can think of it, it's most likely caused you a lot of anxiety, it's caused you a lot of stress, it's maybe even hurt people along the way as you were trying to get and reach that dream. But I want to say to you tonight that one thing, whatever it is, whatever you thought about now, it will take your energy, it will sap your joy, and that thing will crush you and you will crush it. Because it was never meant to carry your hopes and your dreams. The weight of that cannot be carried by anything we love here on earth. And if you think about it, peace and joy is the one thing that we all really want. It's the one thing that we're chasing, but we look in the wrong places for it. I've got this quote up here by Jim Carrey that I thought capitalized really well on what we're trying to say here. He says, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so that they can see it's not the answer. It's this very lie that we've believed, this error in our thinking that money or love or fame or lifestyle actually can give us what we long for. And this betrayal by giving our hearts to something other than God has caused a separation between us and God. And it's this separation, this sin, that Jesus came to rescue us from. That's why Jesus doesn't come down from the cross. That's why He didn't save Himself. He stayed on the cross to save us. I'll read the next piece for us as we go on. But the other criminal rebuked him. Don't you fear God, he said. Since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he says, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus answered him, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. This criminal here understands who Jesus is. By way of speaking, he says to the other criminal here, he says to him, man, don't you fear God? If this is what's happening to an innocent man that we know is innocent, what will happen to us who are guilty? But only one of the two criminals here recognized Jesus. They recognized the information that Jesus brings about them and himself. Only one of them is convicted, or another word for convicted is to feel sorry for the wrongdoings that they've done. And he acknowledges actually that he's getting the just punishment that he deserves, that he's guilty. He accepts it. And the amazing thing is that he says, without any sense of entitlement, he says to Jesus, Jesus, I'm a criminal. I am guilty. But please remember me when you get into your kingdom. And what does Jesus say to this? He tells this man that today you will be with me in heaven, in his kingdom. When the media went to Madeira that day, going to the unveiling of the airport, they were expecting something different, right? They were expecting this legendary soccer player to have an amazing statue, an amazing airport, and now he's got this forever. So, but isn't it disappointing, right? When we have an expectation and that expectation is not met. Imagine how Ronaldo feels after seeing this thing. But it's disappointing when you expect something and you get less than you expected, or something worse than you expected. But imagine the surprise and the joy. Imagine how unexpected it must have been for this guy here on the cross, this criminal, who was guilty of death by his own admission. And he hears from Jesus that he will get something way better, way more amazing than he could have ever dreamt of. I talked Sunday about joy, and I couldn't really explain it myself. I had not a surety of how to explain joy. But joy is when you get something that you don't deserve, or that you can't get for yourself, but someone gives it to you. That's way better than you, and you don't deserve it, but you've got it, and it brings like a happiness, but it brings a sadness with it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you feel so happy, but you feel sad in a way, but a good sad. If that makes any sense. But not just will Jesus remember him, Jesus says to him that by the end of this day, by the end of today, you will be with me in my kingdom. Now every one of us will one day stand before God, and we will be judged for our sins by the most fair and incorruptible judge, someone who cannot be swayed, cannot be paid off, cannot be argued out of a case. And there's no way that we can be found not guilty. But you see, if you trust and you believe that Jesus says who he says he is, that he's come to earth, part of the rescue mission, to save us from this. Just like this man on the cross did. Our penalty has been paid. Our sentencing that the judge gives, he sentences that on Jesus. And we are made right with God. And in that moment, we are washed clean from all the gunk and all the filth in our lives that separated us from God. He literally becomes our substitute in this. So that justice is still served, but he takes it on. You see, if Jesus did come down and save himself, if he didn't pay that penalty on the cross for our lives, there would be absolutely no hope for us. No hope whatsoever. He's the only person that could bring what was required to complete that rescue mission, as we talked about on Sunday night. He's the only one that could heal that separation between God and us. We're going to read the next verse here. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, for the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And when he had said this, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, "Surely this was a righteous man." When all the people who had gathered to witness the sight saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. So beating your breast is a sign of remorse. But all those who knew him, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance. They're watching these things. There used to be only one day a year that one person from Israel, someone called a high priest, could go to be with God. And what he would do is he would ask forgiveness for the sins of the people, of the sins of his people called Israel. And there's a curtain in this special room where they would go, and this curtain symbolized the separation between God, the curtain, and his people because of the sin of his people. But because of Jesus taking on this sin and paying this penalty for us, this curtain gets ripped as Jesus dies on the cross. And there's no more need for that separation. We have direct access, and this is very important that you understand this. Like, we have direct access to God because of this. We can pray to God directly. We don't have to go through someone. We pray to God directly because of Jesus. And the Holy Spirit can live within us when we become Christians and committed to following Jesus. There's no separation from Jesus and those who believe in him anymore. That is the result of the rescue. And this is the final sentence and the final thought I'll leave with you. If we choose to accept this gift, I talked about the swimming when I was on a paddleboard out in the ocean and someone swam out to me. Jesus extends his hand and says to us, take my hand, accept this gift that I give you. And if we do that, from that moment that we reach out and we grab his hand, we have a new way of looking at life. We've got a new way of living life. And when we get to the shores, we have a new purpose, a new identity that we go and live out. And that is the result of the rescue. That is what this is about.